Welcome to the Founders Lab. In this series, I want to get really deep with other founders and we want to talk specifics about business. One of the challenges I have when we're interviewing someone is we stay at the shallow level, but truly to be able to help and create value, I need to go deep on specific topics. So I'm getting the best of the best founders and we're going to get and share insights that are going to be able to help you in your business.
In this Founders Lab episode, we're going to sit down and talk about the practical applications of AI. What are the different tools that you can use in your business and the journey that Jacques and I are going on to use tools that truly make an impact into a business. I want to discuss the practical applications of AI and how you think about AI in today's business, 2024. Firstly, what are your thoughts?
If you're not using AI in today's world, you're going to get left behind pretty quickly.
Why?
Because every one of your competitors are using it for menial tasks day in, day out. So like the most obvious practical application I can see is support. So if your business handles any kind of support ticketing and you're not running that through AI, you're just wasting time. So that's the main one. The other one is communication. So if you've got a ton of emails clogging up your inbox and you're not writing back, can you apply the smallest amount of AI to that to at least draft you an email, you know? So there are some really minor practical applications that can save you an absolute shitload of time.
So here are my thoughts, right? So we've been going on this bit of a journey at the moment. We don't want to box ourselves in to become like the new AI company and be part of the, everybody's using the word AI. But it's kind of a bit like, year 2000, everybody got excited if you had a .com and you're a website. And where we are today is like, if you don't have a website, like, are you really a business? That's where it's going to get to, is you'd be silly not to leverage it. My thoughts are this though. I think what you need to do is actually start to utilize the products to find out what they can do. The part that's kind of been blowing my mind through our process is we have a question, which is, okay, what can the new model of ChatGPT do for us? Or how do you create a GPT? And previously that was either Googling or asking someone a question. And now it's like, just ask it the question, like literally using it to collaborate. So, we've been going through, yesterday I was in the car and I was like, okay, I need to start practice just using it, because I only am going to know through the process of doing it. And so yesterday I was in the car and I was like, okay, right now it's impractical unless I want to kill someone to start typing on my phone and writing notes. So I launched ChatGPT, I launched the Voice 2 and I said, I'm having a conversation. And I was like, okay, I want to create, for our next project, I want to create the fundamental building blocks of business. And I want you to start talking to me around what are the practical applications of AI they can use in these fundamentals. And the conversation comes back. And I was like, I'm this is good, but it's taking a bit long. And I was like, let me just go. And I go, hey, sorry, stop, pause for a second. Can you just speak to me a bit faster? Because I understand what you're saying, but it's a bit slow. And I said, no worries, I'll speed up right now. And I went, oh, fuck. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, intuitively, like you're talking to a human, and it's just picking up what you're saying.
It actually spoke faster to you?
It just started speaking faster in more succinct sentences and having shorter gaps in the sentences like to a human. And I was like, okay. And it's kind of like the more I uncover, the more I realize like, actually, I'm the dum-dum. It knows what it's doing. So just start querying it and questioning it. So, yesterday I put out to Instagram, what are the practical applications that people are using for AI? Probably the most common response was not so much, here are the tools that you can use, but it was, please let me know. Please let me know. And so I think the first thing that I have in my mind is like, start using it and start just having the default position of like, this is a problem I have. I'm going to ask ChatGPT or whatever large language model, and can it give me the responses I can get? And so if you break it down into these building blocks and start to think about it, your spot there around support, like to really expand on that is like, that is a lot of money if you can build in the support from your business from the ground up. Now, I know this is going to rub a lot of people the wrong way because they go like, oh, you guys are capitalist pigs, you're firing all these people. Here's the deal. The market is brutal and the market will make these decisions for you. So if you don't make that decision in your business to go, okay, how do I make sure that if I'm having attrition of support staff, that I'm building in an application which is AI-based, that I don't have to continually go through the merry-go-round of hiring more and more people. If you don't do that, that's fine. But the next team of 3 or team of 10 can build $1 billion enterprise, have zero cost for support because they're leveraging AI, and the market will respond for you where you have pricing pressure and you cannot compete.
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the most surprising things for me with AI is like, there's obviously the practical applications where you're speeding up time, you're bringing man hours down. The other thing that was wild to me is like, this thing can really help you be creative. So like when you're stuck on something, asking a literal robot to come up with creative ideas and what actually comes out the other end is like having another person in the room spitballing an idea with you. It can be fast and loose, but it can also come up with some things that you're like, I hope that's not a hallucination, but that is incredibly poignant to what I'm actually thinking about. And that has actually sparked something that, now we can actually expand on. And it's not just like do these tasks over and over again. It's like, no, help me become more creative in the way that I'm thinking. And that was like a massive unlock for me, because for me, I thought it was like a robot, you get to do a million tasks and that's great. But no, it's like, it can almost be like a person in the room, which is wild to think about where that can get to. If you've got like all these creative minds in there, what you can actually get out as like a solo founder or a team of two, it's like a full-on collaborator.
That's super interesting. And let me expand on that because I want to make sure we ground this conversation in this idea of practical application. So one was support. Another one is like a collaboration tool for creativity or for your business. And let me expand on what we've done to be able to enhance our creativity through building this new product and new venture. First things first we did is we asked ChatGPT, okay, I want to expand my creativity. How should I think about that? And it said, okay, why don't you ground your creativity in the principles, the psychological principles of creative thinking? And Jack and I, we go, what are you talking about? And it says, okay, well, Rick Rubin, the master of creativity, the way he thinks about creative is when you think about an idea, and let me get really specific, for us it was, we want to launch and get 1 million users as an example. And when you think about that idea, you're thinking linear in like, okay, here's the capital I have, here are the resources I have, here are my skill sets. And so you're working kind of methodically one by one with what is in my reach. The Rick Rubin or the psychological principle is, okay, now imagine you guys only have $1,000 to spend. How would you solve that problem? Okay, now we start going down this pathway and you start like constraining your thinking into like a different way of looking at it. Then the next one is, now imagine you had an unlimited budget. How would you solve that problem? And so now you're expanding the way you're thinking. You're going, okay, well, if I had an unlimited budget, I'd do this, I'd do that, I'd do ads. And you find like on the fringes of these ideas is like magic that you can kind of bring back to the linear approach. So like that example for us, Jarko, is like literally kind of changed the way we spitball conversations. How do we get there? By just asking a question to the model and just kind of being this place where you're curious and inquisitive and realizing that far out. It's got 13 billion parameters. It's like today,
yes.
NVIDIA just brought out 72 billion parameters. What does that mean? Like truly, it just means it knows a lot of shit. So ask it questions and let it help you guide you to there. What else? Like what are other applications that you either see or you think you're like kind of bullish to go like, I think it could solve this problem?
I think the other one that I'm seeing that's getting scarier and scarier, well, not scarier and scarier, but there's a lot of opportunity, is the concept of the text to voice. So we're seeing this a lot in the sales setter space where someone's making 1,000 phone calls in a day automatically to set appointments because it's reading a script, it's jamming back and forth with the person on the other end of the phone, and it has a result in mind. The other thing I'm seeing is the rise of the agent. So the AI agent, you just give it an outcome and a couple of steps, and it can get you to a result that, a fully trained staff member can get to. So that as that grows out, like I was playing around the other day with the new computer use. And I was like, let's just watch the AI use my computer, and I'll just get it to do something really basic, like go to YouTube and watch a video. But it is literally able to use the computer like a human. And as that grows and expands, it's scary, but at the same time, it's like, think about the man hours that you can save. Like, I know everyone's saying like all the jobs are going to get taken over by AI, but it's actually like all the shittest things you don't want to do, you don't have time for, you can compress down and give it to a robot and it's going to just do it over and over and over again flawlessly.
Here's the thing. I think a lot of people are concerned when they say like the AI is going to take our jobs and like, I don't know how I feel about this. Again, the market's really brutal. The market doesn't care about feelings. And so, when people hear that, I'm like, Frank, you're a capitalistic pig. It's like, no. What I'm trying to do is actually encourage you to use it. Because if you, the individuals listening today and going like, no, I'm taking a stand, don't worry, the market's not taking the same stand as you. And they're going to start building these tools into their business. And their business is ultimately going to mean that maybe you don't have a job. So like, instead be at the forefront because like, we're not waving a petition, we're not standing at the side, and we're all banding together. So like, I think it's really possible that there's going to be a 1, 2, 3 person team that's going to make $1 billion business. So why wouldn't you be trying to see what it can do for your business? Talk to me yesterday. You had a play around, like I want to share these things to everybody because like we're in the same state where a lot of people are right now. It's just like, it's a big scary world. I don't know what it does. Like you and I are in this journey. So like the topic of conversation today isn't from a position of authority. I guess it's from a position of us learning and then figuring out what's possible and sharing it back in lifetime. Yesterday we had this concept which was like, part of Frank's problems, of many Frank problems, is I have 117 emails and I'm just not getting back to them because I'm terrible. What was the steps in which you went to go like how to solve this problem? And we're looking at for me.
Yeah, so this was wild. I watched a, 20-minute YouTube video about a guy who automated his email inbox. Now, you can set this up so easily with like Zapier. You can get an email in, you can do a few actions, you can draft a response from ChatGPT and you can set it into draft. That's epic, but those responses are so random. It doesn't have any of the context that you want. It doesn't understand you as a person. So what he did then is he said, okay, I wrote a few Python code scripts that are going to read my previous emails. It's going to read all of my Discord conversations to get an understanding of who I am. And every time it gets an email, it's going to run it through that context of who I am and how I would reply. And then it's going to draft up a reply. The quality of the responses was insane. And I was like, okay, let me see, as someone who has a vague understanding of code, if I can implement this and how long that will take. But I didn't want to be like, let me copy that person's script or let me copy that person's process. What I'm going to do is I understand roughly what needs to happen, but I'm going to ask ChatGPT to do it for me. So I'm going to say, hey, I want to automate my emails. Tell me how to do it step by step. Great. It gave me everything I needed to do. It took about 10, 15 minutes to implement the Zapier stuff. And then I was like, okay, this is getting a bit more intense now with a Python script. Used Cursor, which is an available tool for software developers. Can you write the script that's going to get me this outcome? Sure, here it is. Let me run it. It did literally everything for me. I never had to write a single line of code. The Zapier is live. It can filter your emails and respond today. I mean, that was something that we came up in the car. And then by the end of the day, it's actioned.
You messaged me last night at 7:30. Firstly, that's out of business hours, so it's despicable. And you said, send me an email. And I sent you an email and then immediately responded. So we had this concept, I think it was 10 a.m. yesterday. And by 7 p.m., there's something that's implemented that's working. I mean, we're not these amazing brains, right? We're just leveraging what's available today. But it's with this inquisitive mindset. That's the crazy reality that we're living in. But what's interesting, right, is like someone might hear this and go like, well, I can't do those things and there's tools available. I think one of the things we were wrestling with yesterday is this concept, which is there are tools available and some of them are like, it's quite scary. So I downloaded a tool yesterday. I'm not going to name names, but the steps it was getting me to do is like, connect your LinkedIn, connect your Facebook, connect your Gmail. And I was like, oh shit, like this could just be like a whatever country spy coming to just like impersonate me. So I think that the challenge that we're wrestling with is like, there's a lot of trust in like a large language model like a ChatGPT or a Claude or something, but these individual companies that are almost building like weekend projects, not real businesses, it's a pretty big leap of trust to then go and connect all these things, which is why part of our journey is like, okay, is that thing just a one-day project, which as you've identified it is, and I could go pay $49 for it. And when we're building it, at least we know that like there's a trust level that we're more happy to implement than like literally a random off the internet that's built a weekend project. Talk to me about this concept and we'll come back to some more practical applications, but talk to me about this concept as like the challenge of these like weekend project, indie hacker kind of style products that are coming out there today in the AI space.
Yeah, so this is like the biggest problem I see is like someone starts a little SaaS platform that's just a ChatGPT wrapper. They put it out into the market, you'll see it. Maybe it's got good marketing, you'll use it and it'll just crash. And there's no actual business there. It's just a weekend project and the market is being flooded by that kind of stuff. So what I kind of see as the different like approach is building these kind of things in-house if you can and building your own tools and just using what you need for a specific outcome. Instead of going to someone who's just built a shitty little ChatGPT wrapper and, that's a SaaS platform that they're trying to charge you for, is get familiar as much as you can. Instead of letting someone else take the keys, you get familiar, you figure out what works, you implement it in your own workflow versus, like someone getting all your information and trying to manage it for you. It's a tricky one though, because the businesses that are doing it right, the businesses that do have trust, the businesses that can get to a decent amount of scale that are actually building something that's not just a wrapper, those businesses are going to be extremely successful. So if you are using AI, you need to use it and add in your own layers of context. You need to add in something that actually makes the AI better. You know, like if you train an AI to read MRI scans and that's trained towards like the medical outcomes that you want, that's a way better application than some shitty wrapper that's just going to like suggest content ideas. So like it's how people are using it. People are figuring out how they can use it, and then they're layering in so much extra context so that actual GPT spits out something that's perfect. That's the next frontier for me. That's what I'm seeing as being like the successful companies that come out of this versus the little shitty weekend jobs.
It's really interesting, right? There's like what's happening is like noise is created in bulk. The noise of like the new product, the new this, the content, they're like smashing LinkedIn content, and like people kind of becoming receptive to be able to see like, oh God, here we go. That's like a 400 word essay on LinkedIn. Like, oh, some ChatGPT thing wrote that. And like what the magic or where the things become useful is when the signal is created through what you're saying is the deep context. So if someone is producing a product and they've truly understood the problem that they're solving for, not like, again, the product I looked at yesterday is they had 45 different bots, and each bot had like a really shallow level of like, I'll write you a meal plan. And you're like, how did that relate to the thing which I was trying to solve for, which is something to look at my emails and help me respond to it? It didn't, but it's because they're like, oh, that's a clever little script. I'll put that in there. And so I guess that the piece to leave you guys with is like when you're looking at the products in the space, I do think this is one of those ones. It's like rather than try it all, is like wait for the ones that start to rise to the top. Because there are so many options, and if you try every second day the next option and you're trying to embed it into your business, before you know it, you're just like constantly jumping in and out of these platforms. I mean, ultimately, that's what we're doing right now, Jacques, is like, I guess we're trying to figure these out, and then we want to share back to the world. So my call to action to everybody who's listening, for the 4 people and mum who's listening, thank you for listening, firstly, is if you have something that has a true practical application, and I think about practical applications as this, business is like 2 things. Growing revenue and reducing costs. If you have something that can sit in these buckets and like truly help make a material change, if I had a team of 100 and all of a sudden those team of 100 could serve me up until a team of 150, I wouldn't need to add more people. It's like truly making an efficiency standpoint. Share it with us, because we want to have a play around, start seeing the applications and then share back to people through the journey of us figuring out what to do in our business.